another episode of SubSecond. This is Hema, the Enterprise Manager of Team Nautilus. And joining me today are two absolute legends who we really look up to. First off, we have Sai Suhas from Team Beyond Space Time. They qualified for the 2022 World Finals and bagged the fastest car award along with the best engineered car in the national finals. And we also have Rutish, the team manager of the 2019 World Finals Team Tribulus. They qualified for the Team Identity Award. He's been with us ever since the beginning of our journey. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Hema, for the invitation.
Thanks for having us.
Really a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be on this podcast now.
How are you guys doing today?
Good. Just tired, but still good. Been good.
Pretty standard university day. It's going well.
That's great. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for joining with us.
Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome. Okay, let me just ask you guys an introductory question. How long have you been part of F1 school so far?
Well, that's a difficult question. I'd say around, in school from, I believe, 8th grade. So that puts me around 4 years in school. And then, I've still been part of the community. So another 3 more years. So I'd say around 7 years in total.
That's quite a long time. What about you, Sai?
I want to say 1.5 years while I was like competing and like doing worlds, nationals. And as a mentor, I want to say like about 2 maybe. And I feel like I'll stay for a while. So like maybe like, who knows, just as long as the teams keep coming, we'll be there. So
that's great. Now, Sai, you're doing mechanical engineering and Rutish, you're doing computer engineering. So have your career choices really been influenced by being a part of F1 in schools?
definitely, because like F1 in schools as a competition just has so many, the base idea of the competition is that it exposes you to like the real world like experience with how to like deal with things and how to like manage a project and how to like engineer something or how to like just do things like these. So it really like just helped me guide like look in a direction which I enjoy, and that's really important for choosing a major in college. So I think F1 schools definitely did help me with that. So yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, as for me, I took computer science, so it didn't really influence my career choice. But in terms of extracurriculars and in terms of, the experiences that I gained while in the competition, that helped me a lot. Like, I'm pretty sure Sai can agree with me as well, like public speaking, presentations, dealing with people in the real world, like companies and actual top-ranking officials. It's not something you learn in school, and it's been very helpful. Even though it didn't exactly change my career, it changed the person I am.
That's really great to hear. And was this something you guys always dreamed from, like when you were small? Like, I just want to be an engineer. Or was that something you developed as you joined the competition?
I wanted to be a pilot in the beginning. Don't ask why. Then I just, we wanted to do something on computers. That's about it.
I mean, I want to be a chef. So I guess the competition did really change my perspective because I didn't know engineering was this fun. I mean, I feel like I would have ended up cooking in like my mom's basement or something like that, but like, yeah, this is good.
Makes sense. I mean, all of us have those crazy childhood dreams. Like, I also wanted to be a pilot. I think some movie influenced me and I was like, damn, being a pilot is a cool job. So, yeah.
How did you guys like get your start into F1 in schools? So like, what inspired you to join the competition?
Well, for me, technically, what happened was we had back then when I was in F1 in schools, it was Mr. Paul Bray who was in charge of F1 in schools Abu Dhabi, and he used to come to our school to give presentations every year, I believe. And then just one day in the auditorium, I saw his presentation. It seemed very advanced. The competition seemed like it was well out of my reach, but I decided why not. And I had a few friends who are all pretty like-minded, and we thought, okay, let's give this a shot. There's no harm. We're just in 7th grade. We can always improve, and that's how it started. We just kept going at it. Sai?
I want to say that like it just started with like seeing like my seniors and like just people like Rutish and like all the alumni just doing so well with the competition, and like just I guess just seeing them like go along and like just like the progression and like the change in person, like for like I mean seeing Rutish before and like after F1 was just a huge change for me, and that was like, okay, I need to do this. So I guess that kind of got me into it. So
Yeah, I mean, I also completely agree. Like, seeing Beyond Space Time and Tribulus and True Speed do like really, really well in F1 in schools, like pushed all of us into the club and, eventually into the competition as competitors.
I mean, you guys actually were our inspiration. Just so there's so many teams just evolving from our school right now, and all of us are from the same school, by the way. Ritesh and I have graduated. But yeah, you guys honestly made it a trend. So True Speed, Tribulus, and we have Mobius, and then Beyond Space Time, and then the legacy just keeps going.
and it's just like it's so nice like seeing all the teams just coming forth, and like it's like there's so many teams and like it evolved to like such a big thing now, and like it honestly like just makes us so proud looking at the entire thing and just like seeing how it evolved into like basically almost like a company. Now it's so big, but yeah, so that's good.
Yeah. When we started, we genuinely didn't think that, we'd actually have a legacy of people actually going after us. But, I'm pretty, very, very happy to see the number of people who are actually doing F1 in schools in our school now.
Yeah, honestly, you guys are really famous. I mean, it's surprising how these rookie and from Formula Thara kids know you guys. Like, you guys are really famous among just the F1 club that's there in our school.
We back the club.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, actually, I have a question for Ritesh. So for Tribulus was a collaboration team with an Irish team. So how was that like? How was it like managing tasks when you're from with a completely different country?
Well, it actually took us more or less a month, I'd say, after announcing which team it was to get to working cohesively. So we first had to decide, which of our members would be like the main team members, and then who would be the core members, since we would have too many team members in our team if everyone took part from both the teams as tribulus. So we just had to decide the main members, and then we had to decide who would take up which roles, or which team is better at which roles, kind of thing. And after that, I'd say it went pretty well. Went pretty well. Uh, we were okay. I don't expect such smooth flowing to go on when you have a collaborative team, but it went better than I expected, to say the least. Mukesh was able. I mean, my teammates were able to work with the Irish counterparts in designing the car, testing, and also finance worked very well. And I was able to oversee the entire team and to make sure they were all doing well. It was good.
That's great. And how did you, I mean, start with like a collaboration team? Was it an idea that you guys already had when you were progressing to the World Finals?
Not really. We just it wasn't really expected that they would let us go to the World Finals, but then Mr. Paul Bray agreed, and he said that they could send us as collaborative team. We didn't have any choice on who it would be or which country or which team. It's just he just said that it's going to be randomly chosen, and we got a letter in July, I believe, no, June, from Mr. Paul Bade, and we're just happy. We're just happy that we had the chance to at least go to World Finals. Back then, it
Right.
was a big dream for us since we were like the only main team in our school.
Yeah, I mean, World Finals for any team, I feel like is a dream. It's such a nice experience, and getting to the World Finals or even being qualified for World Finals is a great thing. What about you, Sai? When did you get to know that? Oh, I've qualified for the World Finals, and oh shit, I'll probably be going to the World Finals.
I believe it was in it was right after competition, like in June, I think, like June of uh, I don't know which year. It's been a long time, but yeah. And again, it was just one of those like things where you're like, oh, we're actually going to the world. What the hell? So it was just like, I mean, first we had to just process that entire thing. And we were just like, because like even though we were trying to act professional with everyone, like inside we were freaking, we were like, oh my god, world finals, like what the heck, like that type of stuff. Like, uh, Yeah, it's just one of those things which you have to like kind of uh prepare mentally also, because you're gonna like step up to the next league, and like everything needs to kick into high gear at that point. You need to like be really good at like the base thing is that you need to be good at like managing your team, and like, you need to be good at like managing and communicating everything. So yeah, it was it's just it's more than anything, it's more like a commitment. So just putting the time for it, and making sure that you can actually put in the time for it, and you know that you're doing, and you know that what you're doing is something you like. So
Yeah, completely makes sense. Um, Also, this is the both of you, but through past experiences, I think this has been with every team, that there are few team members giving it their best, working all night, and there are few of them who aren't. So, what are your thoughts? Both of you were team managers of your team. What are your thoughts on, a few members not giving it their best, or you just think, oh, we can replace them with someone else?
Yeah, well, in my team's case, there was a little bit of discrepancy like that, but we didn't exactly just push him out of the team or anything. We gave him encouragement and we gave him a reason as to why he should and he could work better, and we showed him his true potential. uh, all we had to do was to just nudge him in the right direction. And he wasn't really doing much because he didn't know how to do it. We just nudged him in the right direction, and he started functioning properly. He was able to get us some really. I mean, he was our graphic designer, and he was able to push out some really well done products for us. It was. Some people just need the push in the right direction. That's what I always feel like. But of course, as mentioned, if sometimes a team member doesn't cooperate at all, you do have to drop them for if you want your team to excel. It's a difficult choice to make. It might hurt your friendships, but it's for the sake of the team, and it's for the sake of the competition as well.
Right, makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with Ritesh. Like, it's just like the idea is that if you're trying to put in the effort for the competition, and again, obviously you have to make sure that your team knows that this is a competition, and that knows that it's a big thing, and that they have to work for it. And sometimes that it's just not the case, and it's like, and it happens so often with like so many teams, and it's like and it can lead to like, it can be very demoralizing at the start, with like just the teams like not with like some of the team members not doing well, or like like someone who we expected to do like more work just does not do as much, or like someone you expected to do less work does more, something like that. And it's like, it's a weird state. But like, if you as a team, if you guys just come together and just, again, as Ruti said, give the person a push, or like just try to figure out the roles again, or just like, again, just it's more of a logistic issue, and like it's something you can definitely fix. And like and in most cases the easiest option is to just drop the person, but it may not be the most right option also. So
Always better to mentally give them a push than a physical push.
yeah,
Very well said. As a
Cool.
team manager myself, um, I like, did you guys employ, as team managers, did you guys employ certain strategies as like how to cohesively work as a team with different people with different personalities?
Well, for me as a team manager, okay, what my ideology was, I basically paired up people. Wait, there were only like five of us, and technically speaking, three of us were technical, two of us weren't technical. So that pairing comes naturally. But then apart from that, since I already really know who these people are on my team, they're my good friends for the last like 5 years, kind of thing. I know them very well, and I know how to how to guide them in the right way that they would understand. That is something you have to figure out, because uh, when you talk to your teammates and you give them instructions or directions on how to get stuff completed, it won't really get to them that well. You have to, kind of assert it in a way that they understand that, it's important. This is how I should do it. Some people, you don't even need to tell them what to do. They'll have their work done already. Whereas on the other hand, some people, you need to nudge them, constantly. You just need to know what type of person is each member in your team, and managing them would become secondhand for you.
Sai?
Mind game.
Your question is something that like kind of tests a person's like management ability, I want to say, because again, different people have different ideas of like how they go about it, and like with my team, I always just put the work up front, and like again, it's just like take your own pace. This is the given deadline. Take how much of time you need. If you need an extension of the deadline, take it, but just get the work done. It's always quality over anything else, and like getting that is really important because like that's what you essentially need. And like it was just about dealing with people in different ways, and that's one of the most important things you can learn from this competition, just how to like deal with different people, and like how to deal with the team, and how to like manage a team. And yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like before I came into this competition, I wasn't really good at managing personalities, and now I think I've done a pretty good job of managing all of the four of them.
Yeah, trust me, even I did not plan on taking team manager role. Somehow I just found myself with it, and it worked out. It worked out pretty well. And that's also one of the things about this competition. It pushes you beyond your safe space or your comfortable space. It pushes you into places where you don't usually go, and you learn a lot from that thing. I never thought I'd be a team leader, but here I am doing a lot of stuff. I can easily talk to people. I can easily talk to a large group of people, convince them, lead them. It's all from this competition.
Yeah, completely agreed. I mean, our origin stories are the same at this point.
Rakshan, do you want to ask any engineering questions? I mean, both of you are engineers.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, engineering is like a very expensive thing to buy the different parts, the bearings, the different 3D printing techniques, and it's very expensive. And even though engineering and whatever we do is like very important, we should also be like efficient to take like some weight off our enterprise team and sponsorship team. So what kind of like measures did you guys take, or how efficient were you with your engineering resources to take a weight off your enterprise team?
So cost to quality ratio is one of like those things which is really hard to like get first try. It's something that's like putting it straight up, it's a trial and error thing. Like you fail once, you do it better next time. And like the best way to go about it is just to again have everything pre-planned, and like just know what you want, and like at least get a gist of most things. And that's what I like. That's why I felt that I was lucky, because like so much of the engineering research was like done by my mentors and alumni, and like so I kind of knew what I wanted to do with like say like a material like a bearing. I want like choosing between like something expensive like a ceramic bearing, or like something a bit more cheaper like a hybrid ceramic, or just between the various options, and just like what all we have, right? So again, like it just comes from like years of all the teams just putting in like knowledge and just like selecting the best option. And like it can get hard with just new developments and new ideas and things like that. But again, finding like the right one is just a huge trial and error process. And
I mean, yeah, that's great. I definitely agree with what you said. I mean, even in engineering, like figuring out what material we use for our 3D printed parts and everything, it's a huge trial and error. And yeah, we have to weigh the pros and cons of each thing, and then we have to figure out which is the best option. Okay, yeah, and like everyone is saying testing is important, we have to test the car. But why is testing important? What knowledge do we gain from physically testing a car and prototyping?
Okay, so basically, prototyping and testing a car. Okay, there's only so much that teams can learn from online videos or books or tutorials from their mentors, but only if you physically print and assemble the car and you test it will you know exactly where your defects are? Like, for example, your car might look brilliant on CFD, might look like you guys actually would break a world record. But once you assemble it, you will start seeing the first level of problems. Assembly quality would come first. You have to ensure that all the parts that you're producing are exactly what you designed, and they don't have any mechanical fatigue points or anything. And then comes your assembly. You have to also, assembly is one of the most critical aspects of your car, since if you mess it up even in the slightest, it could affect your timing. Like, for example, when we were in True Speed, we rushed our assembly process just a little bit, and what happened was one of our wheels, there was not lodged with the bearing correctly, that resulted in one of the wheels just being ever so slightly off the track, thus making our car sway in one direction. That can only be fixed if you test, then reprint your prototype, redesign, test. That is the only way you'd arrive at the perfect car while having the least amount of problems. It's not something that you guys can just get it at one go. It takes a lot of time, and it's basically trial and error to some degree.
I mean,
That's
yeah.
what engineering is.
Yeah.
So,
So
like it goes back to that, because like I like to think of like that this way, right? Like if it, like, let's say you design something on CAD, right? And it's like a stick. It's like 10 meters long. There's not 10 meters, but approximately. Anyways, if you have something that's like 10 meters long, um, it won't be exactly 10 meters when you take it in real life. For example, if you have a scale, right? And as per the scale's measurement, something is 10.5 meters long. It won't be exactly 10.5. It'll be like 10.56 dot 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 till infinity. So again, it just goes back to that idea that, like there's so much like I guess difference in and like there's so much tolerances and like just like small changes in the real world. You can never get an exact value on anything. So yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, when we prototype and we test, that's when we will understand like the different elements, and even in like assembling the car, sanding the car, like how much we sand, what grit grit sanding paper do we use, and how the finishing goes, how much layers of paint we add, and how much uh, glue or epoxy do we put for the assemblies. So everything is just a trial and error. And yeah, I think like Rohan has a few questions. So yeah, Rohan, continue.
Right. So yeah, designing the car is obviously the most essential part of F1 school. So, how viable are the side pods and rear pods for a car of this scale? So yeah,
I believe Sai can answer that question. I wasn't graphic design. I mean, I wasn't design engineer.
Uh, so the thing is that like with most cars, right? Like it's something like the side pods and rear pods are heavily dependent on the entire body of the car. So if you're trying to go for like a boxy design, which we're seeing most of the time nowadays, side pods are something you just need. And like side pods are there so that it kind of fits around the vertical cargo. Because like that's one of the most important rules. That, like your car needs to fit around the vertical cargo. And like the most efficient way to deal with like the vertical cargo is to have like a have the most like I guess aerodynamic and center of mass, stability, everything, like something that's conducive to all of these factors that I just mentioned. And like something like a side pod where which works with your base design is, and like your rear pods, like whichever works with your base design is something you need for like each car. And like some cars don't have rear pods, some cars don't have like the most like some cars have like really short side pods, some cars have like I've seen a car without side pods, and like they're still fast. So it just depends on what design you're going for, and like how you're trying to work around that. And like that's what you need, because like they provide heavy advantages, but at the same time, if you kind of like mismatch side pods and rear pods, I guess, like let's say you're trying to like do car A with side pod B, and like just like a design mismatch, I guess that's what I like to call it. If you do something like that, it can go really wrong. But if you match it well, and if you know that it can work, it's a good car.
right. Yeah, definitely. I also noticed that Team Beyond Spacetime didn't use rear pods. Was there any particular reason for that?
Uh, Yes. So in our testing, we just found like for our design, because we had our back attachment was like a ring fit, and like the best fit, like, and we didn't have enough space for the ring fit to like foster a side pod, because we were trying to like keep our wheelbase as long as possible, because having a longer wheelbase just ensures more stability, and that was our hyper focus. We were fixated on having a good stability over anything, and that's one thing I feel like most teams are getting it wrong. They focus too much on aerodynamics compared to stability and center of mass, which I think is more important. So, because um, I feel like, if you think about it, right, if the center of mass of your car is along the line of like the CO2 canister, that's pushing the entire car. But most teams, they focus more on aerodynamics, which it definitely is important, but it is not as important as like the other things. And like most cars are anyways aerodynamic, just because of the base design and like how it's supposed to. Like the rules make it aerodynamic enough that it doesn't matter. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Also, while designing a car, many people find this intimidating. But what is the most important element while designing a car, like aerodynamics, stability, weight, etc.?
It goes back to what I said: stability and the assembly system. I'll talk about stability. So again, what I said about the center of mass thing, it just like you need to keep the entire car so that it doesn't like shake, wobble, nothing. Like it needs to be a flat, like it needs to move straight without any like extra vibrations or anything like that. They just add to the overall drag of the car and just reduce the time. So stability, I want to say, is the most important thing, along with the wheel assembly system, which Rutish will talk about.
Yeah. So there are so many different ways that teams have actually used the wheel assembly systems. I'm definitely can't discuss about all of that, but to give a broad idea, the wheel assembly system must be rigid enough such that your wheel does not go out of angle either from the axle or the car, and the axle must also remain pretty much fixated with the body of the car. Now, a lot of teams have tried a lot of different stuff. Rookie teams usually just go for the provided axles, while more professional teams design their own assembly system. In my experience, well, we have gotten pretty close to a perfect fit for our wheel assembly system, but some imperfections do exist. An ideal wheel assembly system would cause virtually no shake of the wheel in the car, and it also gives your car enough stability to move just straight forward in a line. Uh, the wheel assembly system also contributes a lot to stability. If I remember correctly, Horizon also demonstrated that in one of their videos on their YouTube channels. They show literally how stable their car is on a slow mo, and also how strong it is by hitting it against a brick. Now, we don't need to go to that level, but slow mo analysis could help tons. We're trying to show what is wrong with your car. Yeah, so basically, and also, I also wanted to add, weight is also just as important as stability. It is very important to keep your car exactly at 50 grams, because that is what literally every other team is also going for. Every other professional team will try to keep it exactly at 50.0 grams.
Great. I mean, yeah, I agree with all of the points around engineering. Um, I asked you like your first time into nationals, like, what was the feeling? Like we know that, but like, what is the one thing that like caught you off guard when you stepped into the Aspen circuit for your nationals?
Well, first time nationals?
Your first time.
I think I also have to mention that for my first time nationals, the entire team had about 30 minutes of sleep. So, a lot of things caught us off guard. First of all was, well, this wasn't the old venue. So it was more or less like, oh, damn, it's, huge. There are a lot of teams. Back then, I believe we only had 16 teams when we went with first time for the national finals. And the second thing that caught us off guard was how well prepared each team was. Our first season was nothing. We were the ones with the smallest budget, but we still managed to kind of well in the car department. It really struck us how well prepared each team was for their pit display, how they conducted themselves, all the stuff that they had prepared, like, really good uniforms, presentations. All of that just gets to you for the first time when you're in the competition, because you're like, oh no, did we do enough? Did we do it well enough? But then it dissipates. But the thing that gets you the most is when you're going for is when your car is about to be launched. And especially as the team's designated button pusher, I get nervous every time. But yeah, it's just something that you have to swallow down, and the rest of my team just slapped me and told me to man up and just go and do it. Yeah, that's basically how it went. First time round.
Makes sense. I mean, I remember this. I think I've said this before, but Rakshan was our reaction time person. And we also were on really, really less sleep. Like 4 a.m. trying to figure out what to do with the fitness pay during nationals. Yeah, it's a trend. And Rakshan was on really less sleep. So I didn't trust him one bit with the reaction time. But practically everyone else was like worse than him. But he was practically shaking when he was doing the reaction time. Which made me really scared also. But thankfully everything went well.
Why? How was the online F1 in schools national finals experience?
Dude, I wish it was not online. I wish I went there. Like, but I mean, again, it was still like so fun, just like having a run around. We had an amazing dinner after that. So that was that. But other than that, uh, it was scary because the thing is that we had a reaction times thing online, and that was like really weird to like kind of navigate because so what happens is that when you have something online is that the reaction times things can be like really cheated because you can just have a bot do the reaction time for you, and or like you can just have like so many things that you can like uh that can go wrong. For example, like because like when you're actually doing the reaction time, that's it. You press it wrong, you're screwed. And like it was online, so like, you couldn't like there was no like pressure, there was nothing like on you, right? So it was just kind of like there, and like, you could do it on like a fine evening, which was not like I mean, this might be a bit like I guess like a hot take, but like I prefer the pressure, I guess, when I'm doing like the reaction times or anything like that, because like it's just some one of those things where it's like, oh, I just did it. Oh God, it happened. That's my reaction time now. But like instead of like having like a crowd in front, like around you, and they're like, oh, okay, do this. Like, but yeah. So it gets, but yeah, the online one was like it was more comfortable, but like I wish I did it like in person. So yeah.
I completely agree. I mean, like, I agree with other points. At that moment, like, all the people depending on you, that focus is like on another plane.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Sure, go ahead.
yeah, I remember when I was doing my reaction in the national finals. I was like super nervous. I had no sleep, and we had a huge morning in the pit display shop, standing in the hot sun and sweating. But when I went there and held the trigger, just the adrenaline rush, it kicked in. All your hard work, it just like it comes to this. And even for the car, the points it depends a lot on your reaction timing, and yeah, the adrenaline rush. It's yeah, again, in the pressure, it kind of feels good in a way, but yeah, see, I agree with that.
Makes sense. And yes, in schools, we will definitely make a note of the fact that the reaction times were some of the teams use bots for reaction times.
Pretty sure, yeah, because I remember like there was a team in my nationals who had like a 0.007. I was like, hold on, what? Like,
Ah,
how? I mean, I don't think it was bots. I don't think they used a bot because like everything else was fine. It's just that one of them they got so lucky with it, I guess. But it was still like it was impressive that they had good reaction time. So, but yeah.
Now that is borderline DNF, but they got lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about like the new regulations, like, the incorporation of the halo in the design?
I mean, I get it that F1 in schools is trying to make this competition mirror actual F1, but introducing a halo into F1 in schools, I really don't think it was the best of moves. When I get it trying to, copy real F1, but we are introducing unnecessary aerodynamic, uh, well, a lot of complications, actually, aerodynamic complications into this, and teams have to factor the way around it, trying to find new solutions and everything. But we're the spirit of the competition. Let's push ahead and see. This could turn out to be something even better, maybe.
I
Sai.
personally like it. I think it's cool because like I want to see the different cars that show up now, and I want to see how like teams engineer around it, and I want to see how it like how like I wish it was there when I did it because like the main thing is that I want to see how like it just because what happens is that once you're like with the same rules kind of just staying for a long period, right? You just have like the cars that basically look the same with minor changes. So I want to see how teams like actually like go around this and how like they will like I guess like figure out how to do it because like the halo is like something that can like break easily with the rules, like from what I'm seeing from the rules, right? And like I want to see how like they can protect that part and like how they can like even like do the aerodynamics and like how the stability of the car will stay. So yeah, it's interesting.
I'm also wishing to see. It's been a long time since a team has properly broken the 1 second barrier.
Oh
Yeah, I'm wishing to see some team do that. That would be amazing. That was our goal. That was really our goal until rule changes happened, and almost became impossible for us to break the 1 second barrier.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with both of you. I agree on Rutish's no as well as Sai's yes. I mean, it is complicates the competition further, but like it brings like a certain like it evens the playing field for everyone in like a certain aspect too.
Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. Let me ask you guys this question. What's the most, like, the best F1 in schools teams you've ever come across? Like, the greatest one of all time?
like worldwide or like
Just worldwide, yeah. And okay, let's do this. UA and worldwide.
okay.
UAE, I'd say what was it, Nighthawks?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Yeah.
For UAE, for me, it's got to be either Nighthawks or 0.9.
I want to say 0.9 or even
Yeah.
like what's the one team Blackbird X? They were really good.
Oh, yeah. I think that was
Yes, Black-
2012, I think.
Yeah,
Or
they were really
2011,
good.
yeah.
Like, and 0.9, I don't even want to mention it. They're just iconic at this point.
Yeah,
They're so
0.9 is iconic. Yes, that's true.
good.
And if you talk
And
about
worldwide,
I
yeah, that's a really good one because uh, I think like personally, like my favorite team was Britannia Red. They were really good, and like so the thing is like for me, like when I was like looking when I was doing worlds, right? Like the I wanted to look forward for most was actually the project management one. And like more than anything, I really wanted that award. And like that team just had everything perfect for like project management, and like they just did everything so well. So like I love Britannia. So
yeah, I know. I don't even know. There are way too many teams to choose from, but I'd say Infinitude. Honestly, their out of box thinking, the way they designed everything, it was just mind blowing to me at that time. It was it seriously created an impact. Be like, we got to be like them, kind of thing. Nobody would have thought the lures would have been that effective at that point, but they made it a reality. They tested so much. It was really nice.
Elias was insane, bro. Like, it was so powerful.
Also,
Oh,
I'd say honorable mention to Sapphire Racing from UAE.
I love Sapphire
We
Racing.
love Sapphire Racing.
Uh,
Makes sense. I mean, yeah, I agree with your answers. Britannia Red, a really good team. Also Infinitude. I mean, they still hold the world record. So clearly they did something well.
That's true.
Yeah, so they still hold that award. So yeah, completely makes sense. But yeah, do you guys have any more questions for Sai and Ritesh?
I have a question for Sai because, like, I heard, like, you said you're excited for the project management portfolio. So, like, if you are, like, let's say, in charge of project management, and this is definitely not for, like, me to do project management for my worlds. How would you go about it?
Uh, okay. So the thing is that like with project management, it's something that's like, it's something you can't really like judge because you're not there, right? Unless you're like with the team all along, and like it's something that you have to like kind of like get from the portfolio, which is a really bad method of like kind of judging because you can easily like just make up stuff for the portfolio. But uh, it's just so like I mean, instead of that, I'll just answer like how I think you can do good project management. So it's just project management comes up to three things, right? It's just communication, time, and like quality. So like it just revolves around these things and how you can like balance those. Because like is there are so many like if you go online and just search a project management, there are so many things that get confusing, like a Gantt chart or like just random like charts and like maps and like things like that. But like uh the base idea is that, right, whatever you look at, like this entire competition, I mean, one of the most important things that Mr. Paul told us was that the competition is the project management competition, not a STEM competition. And that hit me. Then it's like, oh, it makes sense because like you have all these variables that you're trying to like finish, and it's like it's basically like working a company. So you're trying to like make that put the same effort and like just like make sure that like everything is done like in a timely manner and like, oh, what does it sound like? A company. So just kind of like working towards that and like just working in a way such that like everything is done in a manner and like everything is just organized and communicated among the team, and like everything is like not even in the team, like just communicate everything to like basically whoever your stakeholders are. Again, that's project manager term. With like your sponsors or like your teachers, your mentors, um your students, who are like anyone like this. So like that, it just all comes down to that fact. But yeah, so it's one of those awards that really I guess like it's just those awards, like it's an award that shows like a maturity, I want to say, because like it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, this team did good project management. That's something that it's a real life skill that I really want to like develop. And yeah, so
Makes sense. Makes complete sense. And I think project management definitely helps each and every team with anything. And it just by default makes you more organized throughout your project. And it's really irritating, but at the same time, it's very, very nice. That's a very nice element that I think is there in F1 schools. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's a struggle, but it's very nice. So yeah, with this, we come to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for joining in today and giving just so much advice.
it's a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. And we'll see you guys next episode, 2 weeks after. Bye-bye.
Bye.